Welcome back to Fan Power Hour. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jeremy. I said it right.
You did say it right this time. I'm proud of you.
There we go. Thank you. Get better at this thing.
The last episode was a doozy. So
It was a long one.
It was a long one.
This one will be short and to the point and more of a rant.
Yes, more of a rant.
Why? Why are we ranting? Tell the people.
Well, there are a lot of different perspectives on everything, right? And that's understandable, and I welcome.
Is that the comment?
Dude, that's one part of the comment.
My God.
Yeah.
Okay. Normally, I read most of the comments on YouTube. All right, let me start there. When they're really, really long, I don't. I'm sorry.
I did, though.
Give me the gist.
The reason I read this comment is the first sentence. This video was our first NAMM video. It's where we were, I think the headline or the title was, is this the death of the music industry or is the music industry?
Recording studios.
Recording studios.
Because we went to a seminar at NAMM talking about recording studios, if it's a good business to get into or not.
And for that seminar, they had generally positive things to say. They had been around. Some of them were in charge of like the studios of Fleetwood Mac and Led Zeppelin and things like that.
Some of the largest studios and coolest studios in the world.
Yeah. And they were just kind of recounting that, yes, they had to learn, adapt, and grow through the invention of digital audio workstations, of like Pro Tools and those likes, and the death of tape and things of those natures. And some of those studios did in fact close. But the reason for that, the examples that we got were somebody died and the family members didn't want to keep it running, or somebody took out a loan and decided not to pay it. And so things got foreclosed.
Yeah.
Not so much that this one thing killed the music industry, this one technology or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
They were kind of more so talking about like, this is how we evolved and grew through the growing pains and changes and kept our business going. But then there was this comment. It's probably still up there if you want to go check it out. But the first title is what got me. And the first sentence is what got me. I am an activist against professionalism of music. Now that opens up a whole can of worms, I think.
What does that even mean? An activist against the professionalism of music. Okay, go on.
I think, so initially what grabbed me was this person is specifically against anybody making a living off of music, which seems incredibly inflammatory just right out of the gate.
Okay.
And as I went through the rest of the comment, yes, that is what they were trying to say.
Okay.
I'm not going to read the whole thing. You can see it here as I scroll down. This is a combination of
Weren't there two comments?
Yeah, this is the combination of both of them.
Okay. I
will paraphrase some of this, read through some of it, and we can kind of discuss what's going on here. I'm an activist against professionalism of music. The music is exactly like photographs. In the 80s and 90s, I wanted to take pictures. We had to always pay for a few companies who had monopoly. So before we get too much into it, spoiler alert, I learned that one, this commenter, their native language is not English. And two, they did not watch the video that they posted this initial comment on.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the very end of this first comment, at the beginning of their second comment, they tell us that I copy pasted this speech written today with my poor non-native English to 6 different videos found with the keywords pro studios versus home studios. I haven't watched your video yet.
How did mine come up with that? I pose nothing against the home studio versus pro studio.
No.
And if, like, in fact, I'm even in that video talking about even if you have a home studio, providing something that most can't.
Right. Yeah. My assumption is somehow the algorithm served them this video when they searched those terms.
I guess because we're talking about recording studios in general, probably.
So there is so much more of this comment. I did reply to the first one, and I will pull up my reply is kind of short and sweet in comparison. I initially responded because I was very confused. I don't often feel compelled to reply to messages, and for whatever reason, I felt compelled on this day.
You're replying to a video on my channel.
Correct. Yeah. So this is on the Recording Studio Loser channel. I replied with my own personal account.
The video is about like what can a recording studio still provide? Is it a good investment? Is it not? Etc.
Yeah. Part of this original comment. Let's see if I can find it. It's thick, so let me see if I can find.
It's a thick boy.
So this part right here.
What is that specifically YouTubers? The pro recording studios and specifically YouTubers, mixing and mastering engineers who talk as if they were teachers and
on TV are the residues, dinosaurs from the past who are in denial of the fact that everybody can make music with total autonomy without the need to hire them anymore since 15 years ago.
That's an interesting comment alone, because I feel like if anything, dude, YouTubers are the ones showing you either through good advice or bad advice how to do this stuff without going and getting an actual formal education in this.
And I feel like the whole purpose of this is not necessarily to defend you or your channel.
No, I don't see it. They didn't even watch the video.
Right. But so I feel like a majority of your content is showing people you not only can, but should
do it yourself.
DIY yourself into this profession.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, probably part of the fuel that I had for feeling like this needed a response.
You all right?
I don't know what's going on.
You got a little tickle.
Me. I got a big tickle.
My.
So
it's all the drama.
Before I read my initial response, what I was looking for is right here. I hoard over 24 teras of plugins, I think referring to terabytes.
Listen, there's no way.
DAWs and virtual instruments with a renovation of 20 gigs a day on average. I'm thinking that's supposed to be reservation. I think a lot of this is like a either Google Translate problem or a English is not the first language. Fine. Totally
Still,
cool.
They're telling us that they steal plugins.
Exactly. And the verification of that is for free since 2011.
Oh.
So my response was, interesting dissertation, friend. However, it seems as though you missed the overarching point of this video, considering they didn't comment really on anything that was supplied in the video.
Yeah.
Even while putting ethical positions aside, it seems as though your main argument in regards to free software and hoarding pirated plugins seems to be founded on anything but logic. Regardless, if you're enjoying making music and find a sense of pride in your creations, then I'm happy for you and hope you keep creating. Which is a true, legitimate response. My, again, main reason for taking time to respond and kind of taking time to read through this and feel like it's a legitimate proposition from a viewer was trying to understand the reasoning behind the response in the first place.
Right.
Why did you feel it necessary to send a multi-paragraph comment on this video that is inherently negative towards not only the video, but the community as a whole?
Right.
I don't know what's going on.
I see the word sexual favors.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. This is essentially, so this last couple paragraphs is trying to say that you don't need to put anybody on a pedestal.
You don't need to admire celebrities anymore. In the 80s and 90s when Kodak had the monopoly on photo. They never had a monopoly on. Anyway. The vast majority of the entire population, including myself, was massive watchers, fans. We watched musicians on TV because famous. Many of them got laid with the producers in order to be selected and promoted. Sexual favors were heard at the radio, pre-recorded. I mean, let's not. I mean, there's some truth here.
Totally.
Let's talk about it.
I mean, we have the whole Diddy scandal going on currently in North America.
Sure.
Like that, a lot of that, whatever alleged things are true, whatever things aren't true, we all, I think, can realize that there are some nefarious acts going on.
Oh, yeah. But then it goes on that there was a mafia, and that mafia still persists today in the form of YouTubers.
That's the part that...
who are against the freedom of sharing the computer programs to facilitate that everybody could make music.
So this is...
They want to own the music, keep it for exclusive clubs for those who pay. So like YouTubers want to keep a monopoly on music?
Which I...
Who are those individuals?
I can't find any part of any type of creator that facilitates this type of perspective.
I personally don't know any. And like, if I'm viewed as that, I have missed the mark, folks.
The whole proposition and idea of YouTube, whether it's a podcast like this or your channel or a myriad of the other channels, to me as a consumer, I think it stems originally from a passion for something. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people that lose their way as growth happens. For sure that happens. There's a whole scandal right now between Gamers Nexus and LTT.
Which is juicy.
It is juicy. It is wild. I don't know what side is right, but I do know that...
I kind of think Gamers Nexus is a little bit of a... anyway,
I mean, whatever. I've always enjoyed both channels for their own, their own stuff. That aside, for the music world, I don't see how any of it is like using mafia style tactics. There is one example that comes to mind that you and I had talked about, but that's not for the consumer being locked out. It's more of the creators in a specific region being kind of told what they can and can't do and like the type of deals. So I could see how in some regions of the world on the creator side, perhaps there is a type of mafia position happening. I can't say that for certain.
Not in the way it's perceived. I mean, think of who that would benefit. Like YouTube, there are benefits to doing YouTube. You want to talk about them? Let's talk about them. So like even as starting a channel, when I started recording Studio Loser, 0. I mean, think about this. Everybody starts at 0, right? Yeah. Unless you're LTT, and then you start at what, few 100,000, whatever.
Well, no, they still started at 0 because they didn't procure.
When they started with the NCIS company, sure. Everybody starts at 0. Nobody knows where they're going to end up. I mean, would I have thought my channel would have turned into
47?
What are we at right now? 48, 132.
That's wild.
Holy dude.
Just to think, like,
that's bonkers.
6 months ago, you were passing 30.
I don't know. I feel like it was, I don't know. I mean, growth is slow, but it's consistent. And it's bonkers to think like there's access to that kind of viewership. Not that all the viewership watches every video, but still, like where it starts is like a dissemination of information that I find interesting, right? It's for the fun of it, for the lulz, I guess. Mm-hmm. What it turns into eventually is like, okay, hey, there's money here. There's ad revenue. YouTube's going to pay me to make videos.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I should make videos people want to watch.
Yeah. And this is actually part of a conversation earlier, but as a exogenous extra kind of income stream to help facilitate you pursuing your endeavors in the studio. Mm-hmm. From my understanding, YouTube was never a make it or break it for you type of thing. Like you said, it was, let's start this for fun. And you started around the COVID era, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start this for fun. You have an interest and a peculiar perspective on a lot of these topics when it comes to mics and just a DIY studio that's actually a commercial space and not just a home studio. Like, you have an interesting perspective and background on things that you enjoy sharing and talking about. So why not just talk about it?
Yeah, and that was the whole thing. As you cough, like, are you all right?
I don't know what's happening.
You okay? I mean, to say, I'm trying to think of any situation where I've seen anybody hoard information. Like, what video would you have watched where they have shown you something and not shown you how to do it?
I just don't understand how a YouTuber becomes a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Because every aspect feels like the opposite.
There might be some where it's like clout chasing or like, hey, look what I can do type of situation. But I feel like those are so rare. Like, you don't repeat watch those individuals.
I don't. And I mean, maybe there's hate watchers out there. But
I mean, everybody's got them, but there's, I mean, as far as like disseminating free stuff, we legally cannot give out free pirated software.
Right.
I mean, that would you're talking prison time. But how many videos have I said I am a Pro Tools user. However, I provide session files to any of my Patreons, even sometimes on the free level. Do you need to have a Pro Tools subscription to do that? No, you could do that with Reaper, which can be, although you should probably pay for it, can be a free DAW. And even that one aside, there are other free DAWs. Most of you, if you're
like
Mac-based,
this guy, you could get any piece of software, almost any piece of software for free. Like,
I don't know.
You can. Perhaps you're on a different part of the world where it is seemingly impossible to be able to afford a license for Pro Tools or for Ableton or for Logic. And if you want to make an argument like, should this unfortunate positioning of where I was born and raised prevent me from being able to pursue a passion in a creative art? I'm not the one to make that argument.
Sure.
But the idea that a content creator is keeping you from doing that,
you're watching the wrong content creator.
You're watching the wrong person. So, I'm
looking at one that, I lost it.
Oh, I scrolled a little bit. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I consider begging for money to be unethical. Busking is actually illegal in my country, and we find it disturbing and rude if someone is busking gets on the train. I consider that music is not a job for anybody, same as there's no effort on playing the Nintendo, which consists of pushing buttons until it works.
So, okay. I know that you're not part of this world as much as I am.
Yeah.
I find a lot of enjoyment watching game streamers.
Yeah.
I like it.
Oh, dude, Let's Game It Out is literally my favorite channel. And Ambiguous Amphibian.
Okay, there you go. So I am a huge proponent for streamers in general. And this comment, to me, it comes from a place of ignorance, I think, and a place of not taking the time to understand.
Yeah.
You can look at it and you can think like they're just playing a video game and pushing a couple buttons. You're right. And the people that do that don't get viewership. The people that get viewership have personality. They make it entertainment. And a lot of the highest viewership streamers and people that have channels based on video games will tell you that playing a video game is the passion, creating a personality, putting on a show, creating entertainment is the job. So,
well, take this whole thing back a few steps. One of the things that he was bragging about was the amount of software that he's stolen over a decade and a half.
Yeah.
So if there was no money in music, as this person says, was like the utopia of it all, because this is a pursuit of art and art should not be paid for. And therefore the same with music and busking and asking for money and YouTube and all this stuff. If there was no money in this art form at all, there would be no software for this individual to steal. There would be no DAWs. There would be no virtual
100%.
instruments. Like, the argument on its face kind of defeats itself.
And that's exactly what my comment back was when I said that the main argument in regards to free software and hoarding pirated plugins seems to be founded on anything but logic. Like if you try to apply any logic to it, if anything in the creative arts was not paid for, there would be no businesses, no individuals creating software for you to steal.
Mm-hmm. And I don't see how any of this is in the face of a recording studio. Like the comment there, I never went to pro studios in my city. I don't need to. I have a very good mic. It says where the mic is. Home Depot has acoustic foam and activated Carmen. Tobin has many pianos, cables, tools, all you need. Everybody has a computer, stereo amp, and speakers and headphones. Sure, everybody does.
Is this not what you almost preach all the time?
Yeah, I literally do all those things yourself.
We did an entire talking about your Dolby room. We did an entire episode where we talked about how you can DIY your acoustic treatment.
Yeah, I mean, but I understand what he's saying. Like, why do we need you if we have all this? I think it's so much more than that. Like those individuals out there, it's so hard to produce your own stuff. As someone who records their own music, it's the most difficult thing to do. And if this person's comfortable with that, hey, that's awesome. You don't need a studio. Congrats. Like you're one of the few, man. That's killer. But just because everyone can doesn't mean everyone will. Mm-hmm. And like there is a certain amount of like, if you don't want to go down that recording rabbit hole as an artist, a true artist, sometimes they're not interested in hoarding plugins. They don't want to learn all that stuff. That's a lot of information and data to like hold in one's head while keeping a creative focus on something else. It's really hard to balance those two worlds. Like when I started really going hard into the studio side of things, like my own playing and my own songwriting definitely went by the wayside for a long, long time. And I was somebody who wrote all the time. Mm-hmm. I've recently found myself back in that world, which is really cool and a lot of fun, like through the channel, which provides me kind of that outlet. So it kind of comes full circle, but it is interesting if you have the mental bandwidth and the time and the capital to really do all of this right, then by all means, do it yourself.
I like that point and that perspective because one of these lines in here, the music as a goal of making a living is just prostitution. Same as YouTube killed the television programs and celebrities because it brings you the opportunity to make your own show for free, but always a minority are stingy and want money and manipulation of the mass, passive viewers. So the way I interpret this is, in this person's world, you should not be reimbursed for making music, for making videos, for art in general. But the problem is, I feel like if you were trying to imagine a utopia, that would be part of it. It would be the freedom to create art of your own free will without worrying about funding it, without trying to sell something. Yeah. You're just making art for the love of art and you have no other worries.
That's awesome.
That's what we all want.
Oh, heck yeah.
But in reality, that is not possible unless we fast forward 20 years and we got robots working for us. We've got some kind of universal basic income, and we can just do whatever we want and not have to worry about having to pay for life.
That would be nice.
That would be great. But you're right. Okay. I will say you're right.
We agree on a lot of things.
Making music, you can classify that as prostitution. Just as working a full-time office job is the same, except what you're selling of yourself is your time.
You're a whore for something.
Yeah. Everybody has to be at some point. That's just the nature of the reality that we live in. I wish it wasn't that way. You probably wish it wasn't that way.
That's capitalism.
Not only capitalism, that is every mode of any type of systematic living that a group of people endures. You can think back to a tribalistic era. you had to sacrifice your time and your effort to keep yourself and your tribe alive.
True.
That is just life. That is staying alive. That's surviving. We just attribute it to money now.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, okay. I feel like we're getting real deep into this, and if you're still with us, I appreciate it. We're just kind of venting at this point.
I think it's an interesting conversation.
Well, that is the first comment. That is one of two comments.
Oh, heavens.
That is what has been posted before this viewer watched the video.
Okay.
That is before I responded.
Go on.
So let me make this a little bit bigger so we can more easily read it.
Oh, that was just the first one.
That was just the first one.
Oh, boy.
So again, I had responded. I had said that essentially their response didn't make a whole lot of sense. The idea of pirating and stealing software didn't seem to be founded on logic. But at the end, I encouraged that if you're making music and you are proud of what you make and you're having a good time, then I encourage that for anybody and everybody. If you pirate plugins, if you're making something you love, awesome. We might not stand, toe to toe on everything ethically, but at the end of the day, if you have an outlet to create something and you have a good time, I support you having a good time and creating, because that's what we all want to do, right? So this is where we learn, non-native English. Totally fine.
Yeah.
They're doing a great job. Honestly, if I had to write something out and not English,
honestly, probably better than a lot of English speakers.
Very bad.
Yeah.
And again, they said that they found the video with a key search and didn't watch it.
Okay.
So this is where I start to feel as though we're dealing with an individual that I'm either getting very confused because of the language barrier, or I would not consider a sound mind.
Right. There's a lot of utopian ideas here. It seems like I'll walk for 30 years without playing guitar. I never accepted any coin because I have ethics. Very God complex going on, which is cool. If I pay for every software, it would cost $1 million. Not quite, buddy. My parents' home, but still Waves plugins. The brain behind that ran. What?
I didn't understand that part. Is this person like Mike Fraddis or something?
No.
Is anybody behind Waves?
Behind Waves, no.
Okay.
Not that I know of. Because you paid all that dirty money obtained from clients who are kept in ignorance because none of you collaborate in transparency. Explaining how to get all these softwares for free.
This is one of my problems. I wish that there was a utopian type of lifestyle that the entire world could enjoy.
Oh, absolutely.
I wish that so much. I feel that logically it won't happen because humans to the core are flawed in many different ways. And I feel like it seems entirely impossible to get every single human to agree that one ethical path is the correct one.
Right. Which will never happen.
And if it does, then we have probably evolved to another state of being and maybe have chips in our brain that make it possible. Who knows? The idea is beautiful. The idea that we all can create anything, and we can all get along, and we can all live a comfortable living that is equal to every other person. But so again, this keeps going back to dirty money attained from clients who are kept ignorant.
Dirty money.
Is it dirty money because we bought software that a team, or some cases an individual, had a passion for creating? Like, you have a passion for creating music. That's great. I do too. Others people's passion goes into the coding, goes into the physical hardware engineering of outboard gear, goes into understanding how to create algorithms to replicate outboard gear. Like,
are those individuals inherently evil?
Exactly. Like, this statement discredits the passion of an individual that's anything other than a visual or music art.
Right.
Like, passions come in all shapes and sizes. So somehow, because somebody made software, it's now dirty money because that software is used in music.
Well, and then they go on to say how they're better than music theory teachers and...
Well, yeah. I mean, like you said earlier, like more of this like God complex stuff. And I'll give the benefit of the doubt. some of this sounds really bad. Maybe it's because of like the language barrier. Maybe it's not supposed to be as boastful.
Or it
Fine.
could be a little drunk comment. There you go.
Could be
Who
that
knows?
too.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing you get with anybody that puts content out. Like there's a nefarious background to it, and maybe there is sometimes, maybe there's not. It kind of reminds me of a comment I showed you on mine.
Yeah. Bless you.
Excuse me, I'm allergic to you.
Must be.
That was a dad sneeze, bro.
Was
Which
it
video was
What's audio?
Mojave. Yeah, there it is.
Did they edit it? No,
Yeah,
because it would have said edited, wouldn't it?
No, not always. It does for the first few days.
So this is edited because I remember seeing this.
Yeah, it was a little more stingy than this. So basically, somebody posted on one of my videos I did on the Mojave MA301s, basically a more affordable U87. David Rohr's take on the U87, I should say. He said, I like your videos and everything, and I appreciate the transparency, but I think it's
I'll bleep it.
bull that you're frequently given expensive gear for free because you're a trendsetter or whatever. And that's an interesting comment to me. And I mean, I totally get it. Take everything I say with a grain of salt because I'm given stuff, like, wholeheartedly. But here would be the counterpoint, okay? I've got a ton of microphones. I don't need another set of microphones. There's a whole lot of microphones that come in and get sent right back because they're not right for me. I don't want them.
There's a lot that don't get sent in the first place because they're not right or you don't.
Right. You got stuff that, hey, do you want to try this out? Not really. No.
I think I'm sorry, a quick interjection, but I think this is probably good to understand as anybody that's not active in the YouTube community. The percentage of things that you see people do videos on and they're transparent about there being some kind of deal proctored, sponsor video, things like that, you should probably assume that there is a magnitude more of things that have gotten turned down.
Yeah.
That's just par for the course.
Right. Well, I mean, the ones that take everything, you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of tell because they won't go into detail about certain things. And to be like on my videos, I sit with stuff. Like how long did I have the West Audio before I made a video on it?
Months.
A
very long time.
I literally had the Mojave mics. They were like, where are you going to make a video on this? Like I had one set of them and I had tested those, didn't like them, sent them back. They sent me another set. And then I restarted the process. I think that took like 9 months.
There's some stuff sitting right over there off camera that you've had for a hot minute. And
which ones?
We have videos that sometime this year we'll probably do.
Which ones?
The radial stuff.
Oh, well, yeah.
I know that's slightly different, but the point of this all is you are not getting things that get shipped in and then you make the video the day that you unbox it, say a few talking points, and then that's the whole video.
Yeah.
Which there are some places that do that. And honestly, I watch some channels that do that, but they're transparent about it, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to see the person interacting with the object instead of just watching the normal ad from the company.
Here's how I justify it. And this is legitimately a question. Probably also a question for you too. So when I was younger, I remember my only exposure to gear because like the internet existed, but it didn't exist in the way it does now.
Yeah.
And there's
a lot of just poorly kept forums.
Yeah, there definitely wasn't YouTube, nothing like that. So if you wanted to learn about gear, you sat with a magazine. So
or you go to talkbase.com.
Oh, yeah. So all of that experience is anecdotal in and of itself. Your only other form of is this right for me was reading literally a sponsored ad read from a magazine.
Yep, that's all you had.
That was it. So it's like now,
or an editorial in a like,
okay, but even that they're given the gear.
Right, exactly. That's my point, yeah.
So it's like it's just a different form of media of the same thing. And YouTube, in a weird way, it seems like a more like obviously you should never base a purchase decision off of one video.
Yep.
My video or anyone else's. My gosh, you guys are grown adults.
And you should never assume that what you're hearing through YouTube is exactly what the thing sounds like.
There's so many variables. Like I try to show microphones in a variety of aspects rather than just putting it up on a vocal and be like, I like this one. Mm-hmm. I try to show it on as many things as possible, which is why I do like one mic videos. Like I understand my four walls are just that, my four walls, and have their own set of like presuppositions that I understand. So by showing them in as many variables as possible, I hope that you have enough information to divulge, like, what does this thing actually sound like? So that's kind of how I try to balance that. And in that, there's a ton of work. In that event, we're a functioning studio here. Like showing these things in actual sessions as well as like my own songs. Would be really hard to justify going out and purchasing every one of these things. I'd be broke as a joke.
Yeah, and that all goes back to the same type of argument that I have for, do you expect these companies that are currently making money for creating plugins to just do it for free?
Yeah.
In a perfect world, if we could just go out and buy the gear that excites us the most, that's out of reach or unattainable or doesn't make like financial sense in the moment, and just get it anyway and make a video for the passion of it, of course, that'd be awesome.
There have been those videos, but they typically perform poorly and they're not sustainable. So like there is like a balance of like stuff that I put out. And if you don't see paid promotion, like I can count on one hand the amount of times I've been paid for a video. Mm-hmm. And it's never a direct, like I don't review what I've been paid to. Does that make sense?
They're not reviews. Anything that you're paid for are not reviews. They're more of like, here is my hands-on experience with this. Here is what I like and don't like.
Yeah.
Not straightforward reviews.
It is a weird world to navigate when you've kind of been thrust into it. But I mean, that is definitely one of the perks of having a YouTube channel is I get to play with a lot of microphones. But because of that, I hope I have like this bed of information that I can pull from to provide useful information. Here's what this one sounds like. And I say in darn near every video, like there is no perfect microphone. No. If somebody says like, this is the best microphone, it's bullcrap.
I think what you need to do, Jeremy, I think the way to fix all this, the solution, you just need to make a string of one mic videos again with the SM57.
I need to redo that video.
SM57 is all you need.
I have said in so many videos, if you can't make it sound good with a 57, you can't make it sound good. And that's on you, not the microphone.
I mean, how many different ways can you say the source is the most important part of the chain?
It very much is. I mean, there is definitely a huge piece of knowing what your mic can and can't do.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes from just trying a whole lot of microphones. So again, take all the information that you see with a grain of salt, but look at what that person does. Are they using it in context of other individuals' work? Are they using it in context of a variety of genre applications and variety of source applications? How does it stand up when stacked against itself? Because then, is that right for you? Do you need a use case microphone? Do you need an all-purpose microphone? There's so many different answers to that question. And you need to do the research and figure out what works for you. All this other stuff is a supplementary information for you to help make your decision. YouTube is not a weapon to your head pulling the trigger to help you click an affiliate link.
That's the biggest thing. You're never obligated to purchase something. If you can't tell, I'm feeling spicy on this one.
Which is interesting because it's not your channel. This one is.
It's not.
This one is.
I'm feeling spicy as a third outside party. Both of these comments both this one on your video about the Mojave and the other video about this recording studios dying.
Yeah.
They seem to drench with this type of victim's mentality of, and maybe I'm reading between the lines too much, but the fact that you're given expensive gear for free because you're a trendsetter or whatever.
Even that word, the for free, there's a lot of work in.
Oh, yeah. Time and effort is not free. Did you know that, Jeremy? Did you know time and effort's not free?
You edit the videos.
I can understand how an individual can like trudge through a lot of YouTube and become this jaded.
Oh, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at the person. It's just, I feel as though not only from your channel, because the community for your channel is overwhelmingly positive 99.9% of the time.
Very much so.
I just see it in YouTube in general, and especially Reddit. Reddit's a cesspool. Twitch is even worse.
Yeah.
But just how easy it is for a majority of people to turn themselves into the victim of a situation that they're not a part of.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, I'm not upset because I'm angry at the person. I'm not upset because I think it's stupid or anything. I'm upset because I hurt for that person. I understand what it feels like to make yourself feel like a victim for something. Yeah. And I understand what it feels like to be upset about something that you don't need to be upset about. And it's unfortunate that it's so easy for all of these communities to cultivate a mass of people that are unjustifiably hurting for something that they don't need to be hurting for. Again, I could be reading into it too much, but it just feels like, don't be so mad at stuff that you don't have to be mad about. You're hurting yourself emotionally. I don't know, man. I'm getting into the weeds philosophically, I think, but
yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to kind of sometimes take a step back from it. I typically just ignore those. I think I responded to that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it. But it's more often more beneficial to just ignore stuff like that, because it's like, if you can't take a step back and see like what I did with it, then like in the amount of time and thought process that went into like, is this gonna make it on camera?
Right.
Like, I mean, how many videos have I
and wasn't this one, didn't you record a whole song with this one?
Yeah. And actual session material, I think.
Yeah.
Did it have a song with it? I think it did. Yeah, it did.
Yep. So like, I don't know. I think we've ridden this horse into the ground. Probably. Is that a saying? Is that something people say? I don't know. I said it.
Can ride a horse into the cafe and buy a frappe.
What's that song? Riding through the desert on a horse with no name. Do you know that song? Yep, you got it. It feels good to get out of the rain.
Yeah, there you go. Is it time for Rex?
I think it's time for Rex.
Now it's time for Record Rex.
This episode, my record rec is by this artist, Bloodywood. How familiar are you with Bollywood and the films produced in Bollywood?
Generally. Oh gosh, I did it again.
So Bloodywood is what you would imagine Bollywood is to American films. Bloodywood is to American metal.
Okay.
This song is Tadka.
I see the through line. Is this an Indian band?
Yeah. Look, down here is my favorite part. New Delhi.
Bloody. Oh, I get it. Oh, I hope it hits so hard. Are there vocals?
There are. Yeah.
Ooh.
Take a bite, then you licking all the dishes. Yeah, you licking all the.
Dude, I was bumping this on the drive up here today.
Dude, it's like Architects meets Flowbots.
That's a good representation of it. Yeah.
By the way, if you've never listened to Flowbots, anything besides Handlebars,
Right.
Dude.
Which is a great song, but Flowbots has a lot more to offer.
they go deep. Okay.
I learned of Bloodywood a few years ago from the GM for a place that I used to teach at. And he introduced me to them, and I was all about them. Totally left my mind. Totally forgot. They had a new release. Yeah. They are 110% worth looking into. Just a new kind of twist on some of the new metal stuff that you have learned to love.
Mine? Okay, you're going for Bryn Cartelli.
Ooh,
Beginning of
misspelled
the end. So I don't know anything about this girl. I think she was on The Voice. But this song, it's such a vibe. We actually heard it in the Uber on the way to the airport.
Yes.
Home from LA.
I was like, I already recognize
And I
this.
Shazammed it, and like the mix is magic.
It is great. It sounds even better when you're in an Uber XL.
In the middle of the night, driving from LA.
Yeah.
The whole mix is so good. It's like you get those certain mixes that are just built for headphones.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is one of those. And I mean, it sounds good in the car too, but my gosh, they just feel so good.
Kind of sends you off somewhere else when you have the headphones in.
Oh yeah, her whole record. She's got one called Gemini. That song is a
Is it off this whole
bop.
same
Yeah,
album?
it's on.
Yep, right here.
Like,
I love when they can really create an ambiance with the reverb. Like it's more than just an effect; it is part of the sound.
yes. Like it's very pop, but it feels so good.
I don't know how else to say it, but like it's very pop, but like her vocal timbre is just like so round to me. I don't know how to explain it. I really like her voice though.
It's really worth a listen.
Yeah.
It's a very feel good record. Like it's very pop. Like you'll feel very like feminine and empowered.
I'm glad that you brought this one up because I remember vividly us hearing it and you Shazamming it and us both like getting down to it in the car.
To a driver that would not talk to us.
Yeah.
That was the vibe. It was either that or,
dude, we
hey,
had
Josh. Let me tell you, Josh.
Oh my God. We did not even
Here's
talk
the
about
idea.
our Uber drivers. Oh man, what a wild experience.
That's for the next time.
That's for the next time, I guess. If you hold us accountable,
I'm gonna tell you,
us.
Josh. Just need 10 kids.
Oh no.
We had a wild experience. And we got kidnapped, by the way.
We did. We got oh my, how did we not start with it? We got kidnapped while we were in LA.
That's for the next episode.
Title of the video.
We got
Josh and
kidnapped.
Jeremy were kidnapped. We're not even making it up.
No.
So-
we were kidnapped.
Man, if you made it this far to learn that we were kidnapped,
Is there a burglar emoji?
probably, if not a money bag.
Money bag. Money bags.
Burglars like money bags. If you made it this far,
Great. We talked about sponsorships. Put money bags on the comments.
oh, maybe money bag's a bad one. What else do robbers like? Oh, put a baby. Kidnap, baby.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
We're done for the day.
Yep. Put something in the comments. Thanks for sitting through our rant. If you made it this far, I know there's a handful of you out there that did make it this far. That's much
Most
appreciated.
of you guys watched the whole thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we really appreciate it. This is real late in the video to do it, but if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Share it with some friends. It helps us out. And the more it helps us out, the more easily we can do this. And if you enjoy it,
Yeah.
then hopefully you want us to do it more often and more effectively.
So we can keep gatekeeping
Yes.
secrets for free plugins. For
I'm
you guys.
not going to tell you how to get all the software for free.
I might, but I won't until you subscribe.
I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. But you could just go to